Atlantis was never merely a legend. That's exactly what they want you to think. From the instant you encountered its name, it was relegated to the realm of folklore and whimsy, filed away alongside mermaids and secret treasure maps. A yarn, not fact, a diversion, not substance. But what if that narrative wasn't fabrication? What if Atlantis existed, not only as a geographical entity, but as a keystone in humanity's metaphysical journey? They've assured us that Atlantis sank beneath the waves, never mentioning that it remains entombed within our memories. Not as a location waiting to be unearthed, but as a state of awareness yearning to be reclaimed. This isn't simply about uncovering ruins or mapping submerged sanctuaries, it concerns rediscovering a dormant frequency. If you were drawn here, there's a reason. Somewhere within you resides an inkling, a spark ignited by the mere utterance of Atlantis. You've encountered the tale previously, a formidable empire brimming with insight and might, abruptly annihilated during a solitary nightfall. That rendition originates from Plato, the renowned Greek sage whose lifespan spanned millennia ago. Many disregard his narration as symbolic, a parable conveying moral lessons. Yet what if it weren't fiction? What if Plato didn't conjure Atlantis but recalled it? In his writings Timaeus and Critias, Plato asserts that the narrative originated from Egyptian clerics via Solon, among Athens' most sagacious legislators. They recounted a continent situated beyond Hercules' Pillars' modern-day Straits of Gibraltar, a territory surpassing contemporary civilizations in advancement. It ascended to prominence and succumbed to decadence, engulfed by internal corruption. Instead of embracing Plato's claims literally, successive academicians dismissed them as metaphorical constructs, intended to exemplify abstract concepts. However, ponder this: why would an esteemed intellectual invest intricate details into a purely fictional work? Plato's description of Atlantis wasn't ambiguous, it depicted precise geographies, architectural marvels, societal hierarchies, and above all else, its ethos. He portrayed Atlantis as a realm governed by celestial law, where spiritual and corporeal lives coexisted harmoniously. He chronicled its decline, which stemmed not from external threats but from internal discord. Greed supplanted integrity, egocentricity eclipsed prudence. This disequilibrium between spiritual potency and moral depravity precipitated its demise. Plato wasn't alone in propagating this narrative. Across continents, traces of Atlantis surfaced discreetly. Maya legends refer to a lost domain named Elaine, purported to have drowned in oceanic depths. Hindu scriptures document an advanced culture termed Kumari Kandam, devoured by the sea. Indigenous Pacific communities reminisce about Lemuria, another antique dominion erased by time. Even ancient Egyptian chronicles insinuate a pre-dynastic epoch, a gilded period that inexplicably dissipated. These aren't happenstance parallels, they represent scattered shards of universal recollection concealed beneath strata of imperial expansion, linguistic barriers, and derision. There's logic underlying their shared structure, each tells of an illuminated community that collapsed upon severing ties with its spiritual essence. We don't deal in fantasies, we grapple with memory, collective, coded memory disseminated through narratives because textbooks couldn't accommodate them. But why obscure it? Because Atlantis signifies more than urban infrastructure, it encapsulates humankind's latent capacity, the abilities we once harnessed and may regain. For authorities, few dangers exceed populations awakening to their true strength. Mainstream historiography depicts time as linear progression, implying perpetual advancements. But what if that's false? Imagine a previous iteration of existence, technologically sophisticated, spiritually attuned, flourishing beyond current comprehension. Then, due to hubris and instability, it disintegrated. What if our current world, riddled with gadgets and systems, mirrors a diluted vestige of Atlantism? If you've glanced around, sensing something essential is absent, you recorrect. That sensation that tethers you to a veracity nobody disclosed. It isn't a sentimentality, it's reminiscence. Atlantis isn't solely an anecdote about antiquity, it serves as a reflection of modernity. Once you discern it vividly, reversal becomes impossible. Conventional accounts frame technology as external contraptions, wires, machinery, metallic shells crafted for efficiency. However, Atlantean innovations diverged drastically from contemporary understanding. Their technologies weren't mechanisms of dominance or diversion, they fostered congruity. Atlantean innovation was inherently spiritual. It wasn't manipulated, it resonated. An equilibrium bridging the tangible and transcendent. Energy extraction wasn't predicated on environmental devastation, but orchestrated via intent. Temples functioned not merely as sites of veneration, but as acoustic amphitheaters, intensifying sound, illumination, and vibratory patterns to nurture souls. Crystals served purposes far beyond ornamentation. They acted as sentient artifacts, storing data, channeling energies, facilitating healing, and catalyzing evolutionary leaps. According to various mystical doctrines, including Theosophy, Lemurian lore, and the revelations of Edgar Cayce, Atlantis cultivated profound spiritual sciences intertwined with technological prowess. They mastered directing energy through sonic oscillations, geometric configurations, and mineral attributes. Pyramids constructed with laser-like accuracy weren't burial grounds, they operated as power nodes. Obelisks weren't mere landmarks, they functioned as resonators. Quartz crystals and other minerals abundant throughout Atlantean landscapes allegedly powered metropolises not reliant on combustible resources or cables but fueled by harmonious resonance and luminous currents. These aren't myths, they reflect refined modalities of frequency modulation millennia ahead of scientific norms. Sound was pivotal. They comprehended that the cosmos itself undulates in rhythm, that every notion, emotion, organism, planet pulsates with unique cadences. By harnessing particular melodies, they altered cognitive states, remedied illnesses, and even suspended massive objects. Ancient Vedic manuscripts articulate incantations shifting realities, Egyptian shrines resound with hymns calibrating chakra centers, Tibetan singing bowls embody vestiges of this primordial cognizance. Atlantis didn't pioneer these insights, it preserved them. Gradually, however, as narcissistic tendencies gained traction and authority transcended ethical boundaries, this knowledge degenerated. Tools originally intended for restoration were repurposed for coercion. Sound once utilized for elevation transformed into instruments of oppression. Some sources propose that during Atlantis' terminal phase, the very implements elevating their awareness simultaneously destabilized them. They attempted to compel energy to conform to volition rather than adhering to wisdom, and this imbalance, this perversion of sacrosanct methodologies, hastened their cataclysm. This isn't conjecture, it's a parallel. Today, we clutch gadgets pulsing with frequencies we scarcely comprehend, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 5, all invisible ripples coursing through our bodies and habitats ceaselessly. We exist amidst frequencies, estranged from the original tenets guiding them. Atlantean engineering didn't depend on algorithms or visual interfaces, it was symbiotic, aligned with Earth's cycles and celestial patterns. And the rationale for suppressing this intelligence is straightforward, it jeopardizes the foundations of accepted belief structures. Imagine recognizing that your physiology operates as a frequency modulator, that vocalization possesses curative capabilities, that mentation can guide energy flow. How might this transform your lifestyle? The Atlanteans weren't deities, they were mortals who retained ancestral wisdom. We're starting to recover that acumen gradually. This doesn't pertain to crystal displays or therapeutic sound immersions, it involves activating dormancy within oneself. Atlantean ingenuity wasn't manufactured, it was intrinsic. As we veer farther from introspection, we risk losing sight of the genuine source of influence, not the instrumentation, but the awareness animating it. Atlantis didn't crumble due to natural catastrophe. That's the official narrative peddled to maintain superficial interpretations. Yes, primeval annals recount earthquakes, deluges, and islands consumed by the abyss. Still, those events constituted the culmination, not the genesis. The actual dissolution commenced well beforehand, when spiritual resolve weakened internally. For epochs, Atlantis stood as a bastion of divine consonance. Its inhabitants dwelled in accordance with celestial dictums. Technology was steered by sagacity, leadership was selected based on virtuousness, not aspiration. They acknowledged that governance, scholarship, faith must collectively serve the soul. Over time, fractures emerged, inquiry morphed into presumption, self-exploration yielded to fixation on control. Once humble collaborators with nature, the Atlanteans began believing they could govern it. A schism arose among the spiritual aristocracy, priests, kings, researchers, savants. Some remained committed to righteous paths, others succumbed to temptations of exploitation. Ultimately, these opposing camps collided, fueling conflicts that exacerbated both sides. Inexorably, the nation divided into disparate factions: the sons of light, steadfast defenders of traditional virtues, and the sons of Belial, advocates of reckless experimentation. Their feud escalated until catastrophic measures intervened. Initially, two primary sects dominated Atlantis: the initiates of Ra, adherents of benevolent principles, and the Brotherhood of Degel, espousing darker pursuits. These groups maintained precarious stability until the latter faction seized disproportionate influence. Emboldened by advances in genetic modification, they initiated experiments enhancing individual faculties, heightened cognition, extended lifespans, augmented resilience. However, these modifications proved detrimental. While initially promising, they resulted in widespread mutation, transforming subjects into grotesque hybrids, shades of Nephilim, creatures possessing superhuman traits but lacking compassion. Witnessing this crisis, remaining pure, bloated Atlanteans mobilized resistance efforts. Amid growing tensions, catastrophes ensued. Massive storms battered coastal regions, seismic activity ravaged infrastructures. Civil wars erupted, dividing citizens further. Facing inevitable doom, survivors fled, dispersing globally, ensuring survival. Post-apocalyptic descendants migrated worldwide, establishing new societies bearing faint resemblances to their origins. Each fragment carried residual elements of Atlantean heritage, though increasingly distorted over generations. Legends mutated into half-truths, mingling with local cultures. Through slow accretions, historical evidence accumulated globally: myths describing floating islands, artifacts depicting advanced engineering techniques, shared themes of global flooding across diverse traditions. But what does this imply for us today? Modern science continues to ignore these connections, fixated on material progress. Instead of exploring spiritual legacies, focus shifts towards replicating Atlantean failures, unbalanced development, prioritizing technical mastery over holistic sustainability. As individuals awaken to suppressed histories, reactions vary widely. Deniers dismiss these theories outright, skeptics seek empirical proof, believers embrace alternate explanations wholeheartedly. Few appreciate nuanced perspectives, acknowledging complexity. Thus, Atlantis lingers, elusive, teasing minds, inspiring endless debates. Perhaps that's precisely its enduring appeal. Atlantis challenges complacency, provoking questions seldom asked openly. It reminds us that our roots extend deeper than imagined, linked inextricably to greater cosmic processes unfolding continuously. Whether viewed romantically or critically, one thing remains certain: Atlantis refuses to fade quietly into obscurity. Its legacy persists, etched subtly across cultural tapestries, awaiting recognition. To conclude, consider this: what if discovering Atlantis entails more than locating sunken empires? Maybe the ultimate revelation occurs inwardly, unlocking doors closed prematurely, restoring connection to primordial wisdom suppressed intentionally. Only then might we glimpse possibilities glimmering beyond conventional limits, invading transformation beyond measure. Many esoteric teachings emphasize that the restoration of lost memories of Atlantis begins within each of us. Here are some ways we can initiate this process. 1. Mindfulness and meditation. Meditation allows us to slow the rush of thoughts and connect with our inner voice. Regular practice helps unlock intuitive abilities and reestablish a connection with ancient knowledge. Practical exercise. Begin with simple breathing techniques. Find a quiet place, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Allow thoughts to come and go, observing them without judgment. Gradually increase the duration of your sessions, aiming to reach a state of deep inner stillness. 2. Working with crystals. Crystals were an essential part of Atlantean spiritual practice. They believed that crystals could store information and transmit energy. Today, many still use crystals for healing and spiritual growth. Practical exercise. Choose a stone that attracts you, such as quartz. Hold it in your hands, feeling its vibration. Imagine the energy of the stone flowing through your body, cleansing and harmonizing your energy field. 3. Sound vibrations. Sound played a key role in Atlantean life. Through sound, they could alter states of consciousness, heal illnesses, and even move objects. Modern research confirms the influence of sound on our physical and emotional well-being. Practical exercise. Try chanting mantras or listening to Tibetan singing bowls. Notice the changes in your mood and perception of the world. 4. Exploring ancient texts. Atlantis has left traces in various cultures and traditions. Studying mythology, legends, and historical records can help restore lost memories. Practical exercise. Read Plato's texts, Critias and Timaeus, or explore other ancient sources such as the Vedas or Egyptian papyri. Write down any thoughts or sensations that arise while reading. 5. Connection with nature. The Atlanteans lived in harmony with nature, using its resources mindfully and respectfully. We too can learn from their example by spending more time in nature and studying traditional ways of interacting with the environment. Practical exercise. Spend time outdoors listening to the sounds of nature. Feel your connection with earth, water, air, and fire. This will help you sense a deeper bond with our planet. These exercises are just the beginning of the journey to reconnecting with our roots. As you progress, you may discover new tools and techniques that will allow you to delve deeper into the world of Atlantis and gain a greater understanding of your place within it. Stage 1. Awakening intuition. The first stage involves developing intuition and the inner voice. Most modern people rely solely on reason and analytical thinking, ignoring the signals of their subconscious. However, according to Atlantean teachings, intuition was the key to unlocking hidden abilities. Practical exercise. Every day, take a few minutes to listen to yourself. Ask questions like, "What is my heart telling me?" Or, "How do I feel about this decision?" Learn to trust your instincts and gradually begin acting on inner impulses. Stage 2. Unleashing psychic energy. The next step involves working with the chakras and the body's energy system. The Atlanteans possessed deep knowledge of subtle energies and knew how to control them. Developing the ability to sense and direct energy can enhance awareness and improve health. Practical exercise. Practicing yoga and qigong can help develop sensitivity to your energy flows. Start with simple stretching and breathing exercises, gradually progressing to more advanced energy work. Stage 3. Karmic cleansing. The third stage involves clearing negative emotions and past blockages. Many sources suggest that the downfall of Atlantis was caused by the accumulation of negative karmic energy. Therefore, it is important to regularly cleanse internally, releasing old resentments and fears. Practical exercise. Practice forgiveness and gratitude. Each evening before bed, reflect on the day's events and thank everyone involved, including yourself. Forgive those who may have hurt you, letting go of negative emotions. Stage 4. Activating higher centers of consciousness. The fourth stage focuses on activating higher levels of consciousness, such as the pineal gland and pituitary gland. It is believed that the Atlanteans used these centers for telepathic communication and clairvoyance. Stimulating these brain areas opens access to new levels of perception. Practical exercise. Regularly practice meditations, visualizing light filling your head. Focus on the third eye area, imagining the light spreading throughout your body, infusing every cell with vitality. Stage 5. Perceiving multidimensionality. The final stage involves recognizing the multidimensionality of our existence. The Atlanteans understood that reality is layered with many parallel worlds. Opening perception to other dimensions allows interaction with higher beings and the reception of wisdom from various sources. Practical exercise. Before sleep, relax and enter a light trance state. Imagine yourself floating in an endless ocean of consciousness, opening doors to different dimensions. Observe the images and symbols that come to you, recording your impressions upon waking. Symbolism of Atlantis. Now, let us turn to the symbolism and meaning of key elements of Atlantean culture, which can serve as guides on our path to self-development and expanded consciousness. 1. The triangle. One of the most significant symbols of Atlantis is the triangle. This geometric shape represents the trinity of spirit, mind, and matter. The ancients believed that balance between these three elements was the foundation of harmonious existence. Practical application. Visualize a golden triangle above your head during meditation. Let each point symbolize one of the three qualities: enlightened mind, open heart, and strong physical body. Strive to maintain balance between all three aspects. 2. The chalice of wisdom. Another important symbol is the chalice of wisdom, representing the vessel of higher knowledge. It reminds us to fill our lives with experience and lessons from life's situations. Practical application. Daily ask yourself, what experience did I gain today? What did I learn? Note moments of insight, recording them in a wisdom journal. 3. The 7 rays. The 7 rays are a metaphor for the 7 primary directions of soul development. Each ray corresponds to a specific personality archetype and set of traits influencing one's life path. Practical application. Determine which of the 7 rays resonates most with your inner world. Study the characteristics of the corresponding archetype and integrate its qualities into daily life. 4. The Golden Gates. The Golden Gates are one of the most prominent images in descriptions of Atlantis. They symbolize the entrance to higher dimensions of consciousness, the opening of new horizons, and the attainment of elevated states of being. Practical application. During meditation, visualize golden gates standing before you. Walk through them, imagining your consciousness expanding toward new knowledge and experience. 5. The Lemurian spiral. The symbol of the Lemurian spiral is often associated with the cyclical nature of evolution and the expansion of consciousness. This shape embodies the idea of perpetual upward movement and broadening awareness. Practical application. Consciously track your progress along the spiral of life. Reflect on past successes and failures, noting growth and the expansion of experience. By studying the symbolism of Atlantis, we gain powerful tools for personal development and self-improvement. These symbols serve as guides, helping us navigate complex situations and move forward toward unlocking our true potential.